Hi, my name is Thais Gibson, and I'm the creator of the Personal Development School. This is your daily breakthrough video, and in this video, I want to talk to you a little bit about key tips to become more successful at dating. And this is specifically for the anxious preoccupied attachment style. So obviously, we know the anxious preoccupied attachment style tends to experience the most anxiety in relationship to dating because so many of their core wounds are around the fear of not being liked, the fear of abandonment, the fear of not being good enough, the fear of being rejected. Like these huge core wounds that the anxious preoccupied carries the most are obviously most likely to be activated the most in the dating stage of relationships. And, every single relationship has 6 different stages, which I talk about a lot in this video or in this channel. And at a high level, this is based off of Dr. Susan Campbell's work, but there's the dating stage, the honeymoon stage, the power struggle stage, the stability stage, commitment, and bliss stage. And basically each time we pass into another stage of a relationship, it's like a totally different experience for each attachment style. So the dating stage tends to be the most difficult for the anxious preoccupied. Different stages tend to be the most difficult for other attachment styles. And there are some really powerful tips and tools you can use to just make this stage easier on yourself by understanding what's going on for you in the first place. So the first major tip I have is that you have to take the dating stage very seriously in the form of it being about vetting somebody else. Anxious preoccupied tend to spend so much time like trying to win over approval from somebody else. They're not vetting the person they're dating. And what happens commonly as a result of this is anxious preoccupied individuals end up in like relationships that they're not really fulfilled with. They sort of jump from relationship to relationship a lot of the time, never taking the time to properly select the right partner. So you have to take the time to not just look at, oh, is this person going to like me? Is this person going to want to be with me? But you have to rebalance your perception and be like, is this person a good fit for my life? Do they have important qualities and characteristics that I want to continuously be around? How will this person rub off on me long-term? How will they impact my life long-term? And it's so important that you try to get some equal footing in your dating stage of relationships so that you can be driven by truth and knowing what's right for you versus fear of being disliked or rejected, driving your need to attach or connect. Number 2, what this really means is this means when you go into dates, you have to be yourself. The number one reason that anxious preoccupied, in my opinion, struggle in the dating stage, and because I see so many anxious preoccupied individuals who have so many amazing qualities, so much going for them, so many great things happening in their life, are very well put together, all these things that are needed to be successful in a date on paper. And then they go into dates and they just can't seem to get to the second date, or they just can't seem to go to get to another date, like the third date, or to continue to move the needle. And a lot of this is because anxious preoccupied are big self-abandoners. They don't tend to like state their own opinions, their own needs. And what people are looking for in dating is to see somebody with a strong sense of self. They want to know, and I don't mean strong sense of self like to be rude or to be off-putting, but for you to have opinions different than the person you're dating and to be okay with it. And that really exudes a strong sense of self-confidence. So this means you being able to say your likes and dislikes, you being able to politely disagree with somebody's opinions if you'd like to, if they're not in alignment with you. I've had so many conversations with people over the years who are like, oh, I'm online dating, somebody's so great, I can't wait to meet them. And then they've come back to me the next week and been like, oh, I wasn't really that interested. And I'm like, oh, why? And they're like, they just agreed with everything I said. Like, I didn't really understand who they were. And this is the thing that APs have to work on more than any other attachment style as a general rule. So being okay to have your own opinions, your own truths, politely disagree with things, all of these are really important things because somebody's not trying to just go on a date and connect with an absent person, an absent sense of self in another person. They're trying to connect with who you truly are. And there needs to be that substance that APs have, but often mask behind people-pleasing patterns and behaviors, which really brings me to tip number 3, which is to make sure that you are not people-pleasing. And I don't just mean like with your opinions and truths and things like that, but I actually mean in general. So not saying yes when you mean no, not continuously putting up with stuff that you're not comfortable with or not okay with, and being able to like speak up if you feel like something is violated, whether it's a boundary, whether it's a standard. And this goes hand in hand with my next part, which is to know your standards and non-negotiables ahead of time. To really take the time to determine, like, what am I looking for in dating and relationships? What are my standards? What are my non-negotiables? And to know these things in advance. And then another really important part of crushing the dating stage is to know your boundaries ahead of time. To know what you are okay with and not okay with, and because for anxious, preoccupied individuals, they tend to get so into that like people pleasing mode. Sometimes they forget about their boundaries when on a date, right? So maybe your boundaries ahead of time are like, look, I just want to get to know somebody. I want to keep sort of the sense of like me taking my time to get to know them, so I don't rush into something and end up with the wrong person. And I want to make sure I'm properly vetting somebody. So I'm going to have a boundary where I just stay on a date for 2 hours. And I really don't spend time with somebody for more than 2 hours. And if it's going really well, I'll be there for 2 hours. If I'm not really happy, I'll leave after half an hour, 45 minutes. And so, for anxious, preoccupied individuals, it's really important to have these boundaries. And what I find often happens is if you don't have them ahead of time, sometimes you kind of get lost in the moment and you're so focused externally on the other person that you forget about yourself and your individual needs. So to stick to your boundaries and to know what they are ahead of time will make it easier to set them going in from date to date. And then the very last piece that I would say here is to know how to self-soothe. It's so important to practice self-soothing as an anxious, preoccupied. And you can do this. I have a tool directly designed for this that you can check out for free for 7 days. It's in the Emotional Mastery and Belief Reprogramming course inside PDS. And it's called the Emotional Mastery or Emotional Regulation Tool. It says like emotional mastery / emotional regulation tool. And there's a module in that course that takes you exactly through, and it's labeled, like when you go into the course, you'll just see it there on the left-hand side, that takes you through how to self-soothe. And so much of self-soothing is about not assigning stories. So when you feel this like panic feeling, it's usually because you're like, oh, I'm going to be rejected. I'm going to be abandoned. Somebody's going to think I'm not good enough. You're telling stories about an event, and making assumptions that are then triggering these core beliefs. And when you have those core beliefs triggered, those are your core beliefs that create the most panic, anxiety, distress. So you're often investing in these ideas or stories. There's a tool that teaches you how to actually work through processing those really effectively. And then also to determine what you need in a healthy way so that you can actually action your needs taking place. Because the only real reasons that we have negative feelings are because we have either unmet needs or we're telling negative stories about ourselves. So when we can really work through those two components, which is exactly what that tool takes you through, you'll be able to feel grounded and rooted and not buy into those autopilot thoughts that your mind wants to get you to invest in. And you'll be able to feel like calm and confident, and to be able to maintain that throughout the process of dating by practicing this tool whenever any points of anxiety come up. So that will be in that course. There's also the the Advanced Anxious Preoccupied course, if you want to take a look, that has all of the different stages of dating and how you show up. So not just the dating stage, but the honeymoon and stability and power struggle stages and commitment and bliss stages. And it takes you through all of the things that are like, you need to know this, and here are the things to work on, and also helps you understand other people going through that stage as well. So that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching and for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe if you're enjoying this channel, and I will see you in the next video.